Indoctrination or enlightenment? If I was to wax Shakespearean, I would say that is the question. And that really is the question. And that's the question of how you're going to live your life. And specifically in this context, how you're going to live your spiritual life. Are you going to live it through indoctrination, or are you going to live it through enlightenment? And you can't have one. You've got to pick one. You can't have both. You have one or the other, I should say. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. Most of you know who I am and what I do, but for those of you that are new, and more every day coming in new, we really appreciate it. Welcome to all of you that are coming over from the Tin Foil Hat podcast. The Mad Hatters welcome each and every one of you. Thank you for being loyal to the foil and to Sam, and thank you for being just as loyal over here. Somebody says that, Jeff, you and Jericho look like cousins, sort of. I've heard that. Several people have remarked there seems to be a little bit of a resemblance. I hope there's a resemblance in the quality and the quantity of work that's being put out. We've got an episode of Talk is Jericho that'll be dropping soon on the Westwood One radio network. That's Talk is Jericho. So be ready to looking for that. And we just had a great new episode on the Tinfoil Hat podcast, and go ahead and check that out over at Tinfoil Hat on YouTube. Of course, I'm the Christian Whistleblower on YouTube. We ask you to subscribe and be a part of the Gospel Truth Army, be a part of the last generation of real humans, be a part of helping us change the world every single day. And I thought I wrote down some notes about this, but they are beyond my reach. But you know what? I'm a professional, and I will go note-free today. How about that? Note-free. Ladies and gentlemen, live YouTube podcast excellence. It's indoctrination or it's enlightenment. And it's funny because I sit here in 2019. What is it? October now of 2019. And I'm talking about, and I'm bringing a message that was one of my signature evangelist message when I was in Assemblies of God, later Church of God, later Pentecostal, what was it? Seventh-day Pentecostal Assemblies, later completely independent. But it was one of my staple messages. I don't know if you understand how it works with an evangelist, but you go from church to church to church. So you get maybe 10, 12 really good messages. Hi to Nika Domi, nice to see you. You get 10 or 12 really good messages, and you can preach those. You can ride those for a while because you're only going back to a church once a year. And as long as you keep straight what you preached at the church the last year, you can ride those ponies a long way. So you get 12 really good ones, and you're rocking and you're rolling. I mean, that's good for a long time. So this was one of them, indoctrination or enlightenment. So even back when I was a totally fear and guilt control matrix Pentecostal evangelist, there was still a drip or two of truth in my message. And that's what made me so very dangerous at that time. That's what makes most of these Christian light pseudo-truthers so very, very dangerous, because they have a drip or two of truth in their message. And because there's so many people that don't want to do any work, don't want to do any thinking on their own, they end up buying into the totality of a message just because it's got a drip or two of truth in it. You know, a little spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. And sometimes a spoonful of sugar makes the intoxicant, the drug, the spell go down. A word or two of truth makes the spell a whole lot easier to cast. And you have to learn to wake up. You have to learn to identify whether you're being enlightened or whether you're being indoctrinated, ladies and gentlemen. And it happens many times like the proverbial frog in the water, degree by degree. And before you know it, you're completely indoctrinated, and you've lost the ability to jump out of the pot. This might be a good time to bring in this little picture and this little idea that I have about how to know if you're being indoctrinated or if you're being enlightened. This is a picture of this is a picture of your favorite. This is your favorite Christian YouTuber and his followers. This is your favorite Christian YouTuber and her followers, because this is the way it works. The famous Christian YouTuber, the famous YouTuber that has been given a message, the famous YouTuber that is channeling a message, the famous YouTuber that has been chosen. I am one of the two witnesses. I am the prophet of God. I have a message that was given to me by father, mother, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, fill in the blank. I have the message. I am the proud Robin Redbreast. Look at it as I push out my chest and I come to you with my beak filled with knowledge and my beak filled with fruits for you to consume, because I am the one that is bringing you all understanding. And here's the subscribers down here, sitting in the nest with their mouths wide open, just waiting to be fed by the great one, waiting for the message from the man, waiting for the message from the woman, and it's mainly men. Very rarely is it women, waiting for the great message of the enlightened one, the one that has received a message that nobody else has received, the one that's been given a doctrine that nobody else has discerned, the one that has been given that is so special that you're so privileged to just hear what they have to say, and they're so anointed and they're so powerful and they're so wonderful. Just open your beak and accept anything that they have to give. Or sometimes they'll just come and say, oh, I've already eaten all this, so boom, 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 blah, here you go, and you just let them vomit right back into your mouth. So you don't even eat. You just take what they give you. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture of your favorite Christian YouTube channel. This is a picture of the presenter, and this is you, the subscribers. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture of indoctrination. If you are going to a YouTube channel, if you're going to conferences, if you're reading books, if you're reading articles, if you're listening to tapes, if you're going to webinars of someone that has all the answers, they've received the message. That is indoctrination. They've received the truth. That is indoctrination. They are the special chosen one. That's indoctrination. They're receiving the channeled messages. They're receiving the messages from on high. That's indoctrination. When someone says, I've got the truth and I'm going to bring it to you. When someone says, I've got a message that no one else has and I'm going to bring it to you, that's indoctrination, ladies and gentlemen. And this is you right here, opening wide, taking it all in. And you can read into that any implications that you like. This is a picture of indoctrination. He's got the message. You need the message. Open up and let the great one dispel the wisdom unto you into each one of your beaks. And you understand that these little birdies here, they don't get fed unless the master brings them food. They just stay and they hang out because they found the true one, and they wait for the true one to bring them food. This is a picture, ladies and gentlemen, of indoctrination. Does it look familiar? It should. If you're the bird, shame on you. If you're the birdie, shame on you. This is what indoctrination looks like. So what does enlightenment look like, ladies and gentlemen? Enlightenment looks like when someone comes along and says, I don't know everything, but I know how to look for things. I don't know everything, but I know how to research things. I don't know everything, but I know how to discover things. I don't know everything, but I've learned some things. Let me share with you in hopes that you will learn to study, discover for yourself. Enlightenment is not bringing you the message. Enlightenment is teaching you how to find the message for yourself. Enlightenment is not bringing you the unique only truth that one person can find and all the rest have to just receive. No, enlightenment is teaching you, inspiring you to study, to look, to dig, to learn, and to find your own reality and your own truth. Because I got to tell you something, folks. If you got it from somebody else, it's not truth. If you got it from somebody else, it's not truth. Truth is when the light goes on in your mind. Truth is when the fire comes on in your spirit and you realize, I got it. Truth is something that is self-discovered, not received from another. Another analogy, I was dating a hairstylist one time, and she had me in her place, and she was going to cut my hair, and she was sitting there. She was doing something. I don't know. You know, girls are always doing something, getting distracted, doing something. And I saw this styrofoam head sitting there. This styrofoam head, you know, you've seen them. And then I saw this funnel, because I'll be frank with you, she was going to dye my hair. That was when I started going gray, and I wasn't comfortable with it, so I was getting my hair dyed. So there was this funnel. I guess she was going to mix her products and do all that stuff. And for some reason, I looked at the head, I looked at the funnel, and I picked up the funnel, and I jammed it right in the top of the head. She wasn't real happy about that, but it was a moment of revelation for me. It was a moment of revelation for me because I realized that that's exactly what the indoctrinators do. They come to you and say, I have the truth. I have the message. I have received from father, mother, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin, crazy uncle, aunt in the basement, whatever. I've received the message. It's been channeled from the archangel Homer. I've received it from Father. I'm the only one. I got it from Nostradamus. I don't know. I'm the only one that's discovered it. So here, take the funnel, boom, and let me pour into your head all this knowledge that I have. It's the same thing. That's indoctrination. Indoctrination feeds you with truth. Indoctrination gives you a fish every day or every week or something. I've actually had some of these truth channels say to me, Jeff, you put out too much content. You put out too much content, Jeff. You're giving the people too much food. You need to be a little more stingy because if it's rare, they care. That's a direct quote. So don't give the people too much, Jeff. Hold it back. Keep them wanting. Don't give the people too much information because, I mean, heaven forbid that you would give people too much information when all of the guns and weaponry of the powers that be and are passing away are bearing down on us. Heaven forbid that we give people too much information. Heaven forbid that we give people too much inspiration. Heaven forbid that we give people too much. No, let's hold it back. Let's parse it out. Let's make it rare. Let's make it scarce. Let's create a false scarcity so people think it's more important. And then pretend like we only get messages every. No. We're just holding them back because we want it to be more dramatic. We want it to be more rare. We want to create, it's like these diamond merchants. There's diamonds upon diamonds upon diamonds. They're not even worth anything, but because they hold them back, you think they're rare. I say double right here. You want a birdie? Here's a birdie for you. Here's 2 birdies right at you with that kind of an attitude. How dare you say, oh, well, hold back your information, Jeff. You're putting out too much. It's ridiculous. It's shameful. It's disgusting. We can't put out too much. We really can't. That's why I took the inspiration from Chris Jericho and went on the on Indoctrinate Radio. I'm going out to the Alien Con with Odyssey Radio this weekend in Dallas, Texas. Come out and say, hey, that's why we're going on the other channels. That's why we're doing the live meetings. That's why we're branching out into the comedy. That's why we're bringing up the Dead Comics Society. That's why we're doing more. They want to do less to make themselves seem special because they are the ones. That's indoctrination. We want to do more to help you grab something that says, ooh, yeah, I got that. And the light goes on in you. They do less to make themselves feel special. We do more to empower you to be special. That's the difference between indoctrination. Indoctrination parses it out and feeds you just a little bit to keep you coming back and to keep you in the nest. Enlightenment teaches you how to feed your damn self so you don't have to stay in the nest. You don't have to wait for the great one to show up to bring you the next installment of knowledge. What does indoctrination look like? I showed you. What does enlightenment look like? Let me show you, because this is one of my favorite portions of the Bible because it shows the fear and guilt control matrix, and it shows what they're trying to do. And the reason that we still even have any use for the Bible is because the Bible is, folks, the document that shows how they plan to defeat us. And if you have really good eyes, you can look over here on the side and see that on Unindoctrinate tonight, we've got a great show coming up about Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard. And that was a couple of interesting guys. And speaking about interesting, the folks at STEM Light are amazing folks. If you're having any debilitating health problems, if you're suffering from injuries, if you have chronic health problems, if you're feeling the ravages of aging, your skin is sagging, it's getting all wrinkly, you're thinking about Botox, don't think about Botox. Your hair is falling out, you're thinking about getting an implant, don't do that. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com. Click on the STEM Light logo. Talk to the people down there. Mention the word heal, and they will give you a full 20% discount. Some of you have already taken advantage of it, and we're getting great reports. If you're a doctor and you are looking for a team to work with, or if you're working with one that's not what you think it needs to be, why not work with STEM Light, the company that is partners with the National Football League Alumni Association. Doctors, go to southernstem.com. Use that word heal for special, amazing, unbelievable opportunities as well. That's STEM Light, jeffreydaugherty.com. For those of you that want stem cells for yourself, Southern STEM for doctors who want to incorporate it into their practice. And that would be also the word heal in both cases. So here's how, this is what enlightenment looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Indoctrination gives you a message and says, I have received the message. I've been through it. I don't have to go through it again. But enlightenment shows you how to discover things for yourself. Here's a great example. In this story, a dude had just been healed of blindness, and he looks around and says, I see men as trees walking. And then he gets healed again, and he sees things clearly. And the word clearly means sees them of this realm. When he looked and saw men as trees walking, watch this. Watch this. He took the blind man. I looked and I said, I see the people, but they look like trees walking around. What in the world is that talking about? Well, let's go to the interlinear. See, this is enlightenment. This shows you how to do it. You see a verse in the Bible. Let me go back. You see a verse in the Bible, if you're still reading the Bible, you see a verse that makes you think, well, what could that possibly mean? I see men as trees walking. You see the verse. Okay. You just click right here on the blue. It's a link. It's a hyperlink. And it's going to take you to a little more clearer version. I see the people, but they look like trees walking around. Well, what does that mean? Click should be able to click on the red. Can't click on the red. We'll go up here and look at interlinear. What the interlinear is going to do is show you that verse broken down word for word in the Greek, rendered into literal English. So I see the men as trees walking. Well, what does that mean? I see the men. What are the men? Let's take a look at this. And this gets right to our point. I see humankind. I see mankind. And I see them as trees. Well, what does that mean? I see them as a tree. Okay. I see them as trees, and you keep going down, and then you're going to get down to a place usually where it'll say, I see them as an oak, and it'll usually go down and show you the derivation of the word, except in this case. So you might have to go back in some of my other study here on this channel and see that we prove this going back to Genesis, that means as wood. I see men walking around like wooden things, And if we were to study the word tree, we would see what there's called other places where trees are used. Like, I want you to be rooted and grounded. Why would something want you to be rooted and grounded, immovable, if it's trying to teach you spirituality? If it's trying to enlighten you, the last thing you want someone to be is rooted and grounded. That means they can't move, they can't grow, they can't change. They're a tree, they're planted. They don't want you, indoctrinators don't want you movable. Indoctrinators don't want you to be changeable according to new truth. Indoctrinators want you rooted and planted like a tree. Indoctrinators want you trapped in the wood, and we can go back to, and I've done it on several occasions, Genesis chapter 3, when Adam and Eve, man and woman, it's a story, went into these mud hut bodies, which are wood, they're trees. So I see men who are supposed to be free. I see them trapped in wood, stumbling around. I see them trapped in wood, stumbling around, walking, conducting, living. I see them doing this when they shouldn't be doing this. He was seeing the spiritual condition of humanity. I see them rooted. I see them planted. I see them immovable. What was he seeing? He was seeing them rooted. He was seeing them planted. He was seeing them immovable. Rooted, planted, immovable. Waiting for the great one to bring an answer, a message. I've just shown you what indoctrination looks like. Enlightenment looks like showing you how to go through the scriptures and teach yourself. Enlightenment shows you how to study. Enlightenment teaches you how to learn. Enlightenment teaches you how to unindoctrinate yourself. Enlightenment teaches you how to empower yourself. Indoctrination makes you into a follower. Indoctrination makes you into a subscriber. Indoctrination makes you into a worshiper. Indoctrination makes you a member of a cult. Indoctrination makes you dependent upon somebody else for the revelation of spirituality and of truth. That's the difference between indoctrination and enlightenment. And indoctrination always keeps you dependent on something outside of you. Enlightenment makes you the source of all that you need. In enlightenment, you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. In indoctrination, you have original sin. You need salvation, and you have to come to their Savior. Those that are in and here's another way to know if you're in indoctrination. You are in indoctrination if you need blood to get to where you want to go spiritually. You're in indoctrination. If you need atonement, you're in indoctrination. If you need a Savior, you're in indoctrination. If you're empty until you're filled, you're in indoctrination. If you have to pick up a cross and carry it daily, you're in indoctrination. If you have an outside source of all-encompassing truth, you're in indoctrination. If you have a leader that brings you meat in due season, you're in indoctrination. If you're following someone that has a message and they're the only one that's got it, you're in indoctrination. Because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Real truth is free, and real truth is flowing. Real truth is like a river that anyone can come to and drink. It's not the exclusive practice or the exclusive possession of any self-appointed witness, Messiah, pastor, channeler, holy man, holy woman, guru, archangel, enlightened one, ascended master. All of that is indoctrination. Why do you think they talk about you as sheep and flock? Sheep and flock. If it's a ministry, it's indoctrination. Because what does a ministry do? What is a definition of ministry, ladies and gentlemen? Have you ever looked up the word ministry? What's the definition of ministry? What is the definition of ministry? Let me see if I can find a ministry. Ministry. Webster's Dictionary. Webster's Dictionary. Ministry, Webster's Dictionary. Definition. Okay. Ministry. Duties and functions. Serving. Providing. That's kind of what I'm looking for. They're providing the truth to you. They're providing the information to you. It's theirs. It's their ministry, and they're providing it to you. It's just another take on a word. It's, if you hear those words, be frightened. Don't be frightened. Be aware. Because you are, for some reason, pre-programmed towards indoctrination. And you have to work to get into enlightenment. That's why Mark Twain said, it's much easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled. Because we're all kind of pre-programmed towards indoctrination. Because think about it, our government indoctrinates us, just believe what the government says, everything will be fine. Our education indoctrinates us, just believe what the school says and everything will be fine. Our news indoctrinates us, just believe what the news says and everything will be fine. Our churches indoctrinate us, just believe what the churches say, everything will be fine. Our families indoctrinate us, just believe what your parents say, everything will be fine. We're trained to be indoctrinated. But some of us want to come out and be enlightened. And here's what really happens, folks. This is a poignant picture. And I just noticed they kind of look like trees. So this is really, really powerful. Check this one out, folks. This is what happens. This is what happens. I'm going to wait until I see this pop. This is what happens. And these are the people that usually do it. When you see these, run. Crosses, run. When you see these Bibles, run. They're bad for you. They're not good for you. because they replace your own thinking. They replace your own thinking. You don't think anymore because everything that's real is already revealed within the pages of this book. So you let this do your thinking for you. Oh, it's the red letters. The red letters are red because they are written with the blood of the slaughtered innocents. These scriptures are meant to do just this. Control your mind. And this is how it happens. As young as they can, they want to take you and replace your head, replace your mind with a book, and let you become wooden just like they are. This is indoctrination, ladies and gentlemen. This is the picture of indoctrination. The cross is the symbol of indoctrination. The Bible is the book of indoctrination. And their goal is to make you wood, make you a tree, rooted, grounded, immovable, stuck in their version of what is true, what is right, what is real. This is the very picture of indoctrination. Jeff, why are you the Christian whistleblower? Why are you so against Christians? Why aren't you the Muslim whistleblower? Don't know anything about Islam. To be a whistleblower, you have to have been a part of the thing that you're blowing the whistle on. I was a minister for 20 years, Bible college graduate, 100,000 hours of studying the Bible. And my job is to expose, to shine light into the dark corners of orthodoxy, to shine light into the dark corners of the cross, to shine light into the darkness between the pages of this book, and to show you that this is what they're trying to do to you, and they're trying to do it to the most innocent among us. This is what indoctrination looks like. And so many of you are indoctrinated. Not the normal folks that listen, but so many of you that are listeners or visitors, you're indoctrinated. Anything in this book, they try to say, oh, we're only taking the good things out of the book. That's the new false way. Oh, we're just taking the good things out of it. Just the red letters, just the Savior letters. And it's interesting because the red, we just want the red letters. What are the red letters emblematic of? Blood, blood sacrifice. Blood sacrifice. What is this symbol emblematic of? Torture and sacrifice. What is this book full of? Torture, sacrifice, killing, jealousy, rage, anger, death, destruction. There's really not much more to say. There's really not much more to say, ladies and gentlemen. Indoctrination or enlightenment. You choose. And I would hope that you would begin with every single YouTube that you listen to, that you begin to ask yourself, is this indoctrinating me or is this enlightening me? Begin to ask yourself that question. And you very well may begin to see things change in your choices of what to look at. Things change in your choices of what to watch. Things change in your choices of what to support. Because if you really want to be enlightened, it's work. You can be indoctrinated easy. You can be indoctrinated comfortably. You can't be enlightened easily. You can't be enlightened comfortably. It takes work, folks. Let me go through and see if there's any questions here, and I will answer the questions. Wendy says, before the show even started, already one dislike. Yes, we have our haters, and we love our haters. Thank you for watching, because you do give me more watch minutes, and that's what I get paid for. So thank you very much, haters. We appreciate you. Trolls, we love our trolls so very much because they do give us Money. Thank you, trolls, for giving us money. We appreciate it. Are there any questions? I'm going through to see if there's any questions. I'm seeing if there's any questions or any poignant comments here. Let's see. It's like a bologna sandwich. Okay. Bologna. That kind of sounds good. I haven't eaten meat in a while, and it just kind of happened. Yeah, Tracy says, swallow this shit. That's what they tell you. Just swallow it. Why? Because I'm the one. Because I'm the one. Let's see. What else we got? The loudest bird gets the worm. Yes. Nika says it couldn't be more accurate. Thank you so much. They are pure church. Yep. You don't want pure church. Tomorrow the bird will be a blue jay, the day after a crow. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure what that means. But it has a ring of interest to it. Let's see. That's a little too deep for me, appearance of freedom. I think they're all probably false. Okay, she says, or he says, I can't really see. I thought spirit guides, which could number 1 to be a false entity, number 2 could be a mental illness. Okay, I'm with you. I thought spirit guides could be number 1, a false entity. That's my automatic default response to some spirit entity that wants to talk to me. I automatically assume that it's lying. I automatically assume that it's devious because most of them are. Number 2, it could be a mental illness. You just think that you're hearing from whomever. Good point. Really good point. I wonder how many of these self-appointed prophets and witnesses and special ones are really just crazy. I wonder. It could be I'm hearing voices in third person or an archon. How many of these people that think that they've got the truth and the message from some entity, how many of them is it a false entity? How many of them are they just stone crazy? Wow, that's a great point. That's a great point. A really, really good point. Too much content? Question exactly. You're literally born with all the insight you need, Jennifer says. But then the world tells you exactly. Exactly. Scarcity is BS. Yes, but scarcity is something that's invented to create the illusion of value. And can I say this? If you've got to invent scarcity, maybe your shit's not worth that much. I'm just saying. If you had to invent. Here you go. This is Sigma Ghost did it much better than I did in 37 minutes. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, Sigma. Indoctrination teaches you what to think. Enlightenment teaches you how to think. Ooh. Indoctrination teaches you what to think. Enlightenment teaches you how to think. Sigma Ghost 1111. Great. Great. And don't forget the mystical music playing in the background while they talk. That's a good point. That's part of hypnotism. That is part of indoctrination. It really is. There's no other way to say it. The more you release, the more downloads you get. That's a good point. It's about self-analysis, says Lucky Stone. Perfect. Perfect. Stop telling me what to do. That's funny. Let's see. Ooh. Those that push, says Michelle, those that push rarity and scarcity lack passion and authenticity. Well said. Well said. Well said. You don't have to wait for plastic Jesus to feed you fish sandwiches. Great, good news. Very well done. Very well done. They hoard, says Tracy, because they don't flow. Could you imagine how hard it's got to be to say you're the one, but you're not getting it from a real source and you got to make it up? That's some pressure, cousin. No wonder you hoard it. No wonder you hoard it. You know what? You have the truth when you can't find it in churches. Yep, that's true. That's true. Let's see. They don't want you leaving their congregation. Absolutely. You're stuck in the 3D. Let's see. They're all asking for Jesus to return, says Two Trees, and to save them. And they ask, from what? That's exactly. Jesus saves. From what? There's nothing to be saved from. The Savior's already here, says Magical Maiden. It's us. We're the only ones that can save ourselves. Perfect. Very well spoken, Magical Maiden. Indoctrination keeps you on the bottle, says Good News. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, B. Strut. Let's see. The sad part is how they see themselves. It is sad. It is sad. Let's see. Jen Morris has said that she has done stem cell therapy twice, and it has been very, very helpful to her. Thank you for sharing that, Jen. If you're a sheep, you're going to get sheared. Sheep get eaten. Let's see. Mark Twain also said, the best way not to be a Christian is to read the Bible. He did. And Mark Twain also said, if it wasn't for a priest, there never would have been a sinner. Ain't that the truth? They subvert your sovereignty. Yes, they do. Real truth is your own self. Good news. Very well spoken. Let's see. The books were written by men, not by gods. Perfect. Please answer my question. I'm interested in your reply. Know thyself as the left-hand path, which I'm now on to. Well, what was your question? Believe it or not, Sam, there's a bunch of questions in here, and I'm just one guy. Is knowing thyself the left-hand path I'm drawn to? Is this wrong? What's the left-hand path? What's the right-hand path? You know, they say the left-hand path is a dark path. Is it? What's dark? What's light? If knowing yourself, Sam, is what you're drawn to, whether they call it dark, whether they call it light, whether they call it left, whether they call it right, being drawn to knowing yourself can't be wrong. And knowing yourself is dark. You're going to find a lot of darkness when you get into and know yourself. It's called the dark night of the soul. It's called journeying through the valley of the shadow of death. Learning yourself and then learning that you don't fear any evil because you're the baddest son of a bitch in the valley. You're divine. You're sovereign. You're free. You don't need gurus. You don't need ascended masters. You don't need witnesses and pastors and teachers and channelers. You're the biggest son of a bitch, the baddest son of a bitch in the valley, and you got all you need because you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. And the biggest badass is the one that doesn't have to be a badass. A badass says, I love myself, I love my neighbor, I want to live in peace that passes all understanding and build a life and a life more abundant. I don't need to understand your stuff because I love you, because I know you're divine and I'm divine, so I don't need to understand your stuff. We'll live in peace, a peace that passes understanding, because we don't need that. All we need is togetherness, and we'll grow into a life that is even more abundant. I like that. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I think I lost the place where I was. These books were written by men. Stay away from the red letter disciples, says Wendy Presley. Why are the letters red? And just because they're red doesn't mean they're special. They were made red by the Jesuits. That's a key, folks. That's a key. What do you think when Christians say they're being led by the Holy Spirit? It's an unbalanced entity. Jeff, in your opinion, why do humans seem to be hardwired for religion? I don't think we're hardwired for religion, Evil Monkey. I think that it's 6,000 years of indoctrination that has brought us to this place. We're not really hardwired for it. We're just predispositioned towards it. I think we're hardwired for sovereignty, hardwired for divinity, hardwired for freedom. This whole lie that the Anunnaki made us this way and we're made to be slaves. No, it's a lie. They'd like you to believe that we're made to be slaves. They'd like you to believe that we're hardwired for dependency, hardwired for religion. I don't think we are. I just think we're used to it. It's easy. We gotten used to it. We're predispositioned towards it. It's just the way it is. But I don't think we're hardwired for it. That's a great question. Is there any such thing as the infallible written word of God? Of course not. You got to be a child to believe that. And not a child in a good way. Is know thyself evil? No. Know thyself is the source of everything that's not evil. Let's see. Looking lean and mean, Jeffrey. It's interesting you say that because I just stepped on a scale before I did the show, and I've like lost a significant amount of weight, and I haven't really even been trying. It's interesting. I thought, how could that be? But hey, I'm good with it. Don't forget to hit the like, guys, says Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Let's see. They don't want you to read the verse where the Abrahamic demiurge is the devil. Of course not, because that's their God. Jeff, what's the difference between you and the church? Answer: you aren't sales truth. I don't get it. I hope there's a lot of differences between me and the church. One, the church is bringing indoctrination, and I'm bringing a message of enlightenment. Hearing voices is a telltale sign of an imbalanced soul. I was good friends with a psychiatrist, and he said that every single insane asylum has at least one guy that thinks he's Jesus and at least two guys that think that they're hearing from Jesus. They're the ones. They've got special names and special characteristics. They set themselves apart. Why do you think clergy sets itself apart? They wear special hats. They wear special clothes. They wear special colors. They speak a special way. They say special things. They're trying to set themselves apart. Why? Because you'll think, oh, they're special. They're unusual. They must have something that I don't have. It's a con, ladies and gentlemen. It's a game you're being played. The music, MK Ultra. MK Ultra, look for MK Ultra symbols. Google MK Ultra symbols and look for those in your favorite YouTubers. Spirit conjuring with music, very good. Very good. Let's see. Jeff's case, a piano player. I am a certified master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming. That's why I can recognize it so easily. And let me just say this. You can use neurolinguistic programming for benevolent purposes to get people to think for themselves. Or you can use neurolinguistic programming to convince people to let you do their thinking for you. It's up to them. What did Nika Domi say there? I saw kind of a longish one. Then, of course, it jumped on me. Let's see. My country, Poland, has elections now, and chances are the Catholic regime is winning again. Well, you're not going to lose, Nika. We believe in you, and you'll stand true and sovereign and free. See, this is where we have to be careful. Daijing says, Jeff, how about the two witnesses in the book of Revelations? You got to understand about the book of Revelation. It's no S. It was written, it's Jesuit fear porn. The book of Revelation, you're probably best just not to read it because it's not true. It's fear porn. It's a spell for what they hope to come true. It was made up in the way that the book of Revelation is presented now didn't happen until the 16th century when a Jesuit writer made it up, and now everybody believes the Jesuit. And anyone that's preaching, I'm going to say this, anyone that's preaching, teaching, showing, expounding, giving authenticity to the book of Revelation is a Jesuit. They may not know it. They're reading, they're supporting, they're producing Jesuit doctrine. Let me say that again, just so you hear me clearly. Any channel or any person that you hear that is saying that Revelation's real, that Revelation's true, that Revelation's going to happen, or the events of Revelation are going to happen, the signs of the times are clearly becoming, this is imminent, that is imminent. That's Jesuit mind control, indoctrination, fear porn doctrine. Know it, understand it, accept it. It is what it is. Let's see. We've got 5 senses to gather data with. Let's see. Trying to get through these. The devil wears red. That's funny. Let's see. Pure cannot. Jesuits are Pope protectors. Yeah, that's what they're there for. make us have fear and focus on the end of days because they don't want us to pay the price. That make us fear and focus on the end of days, and then they would not have to pay the price we would. But the end of days was always about the end for them, not for us. Perfectly said. The end of days is the end of their days, not our days. It is the cult of Saturn. Organized religion is for the sheeple. Absolutely. All right, folks. I think we have a good understanding of what indoctrination is. I think we have a good understanding of what enlightenment is. You may not see a whole lot of content from me for the next 3 or 4 days because I'm trying to save it back to make it seem more special. Because, if it's rare, you care. Because, that's the way they do it in Hollywood, folks. That's the way it's supposed to be done. Hold it back. Keep it back. No, I'm not doing it because of that, because I'll be traveling. I'll be at the Alien Con. We'll be doing live programs from there. But, you gotta keep the people wanting more. What a bunch of shysters. What a bunch of idiots. What a bunch of terrible, rotten, disgusting people think that way. Wow. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. We know what indoctrination is. We know what enlightenment is. It's like I remember this was a long time ago, but they asked how can you define pornography? Somebody says, well, one of these senators said, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. That's the way indoctrination is. It's a little hard to define sometimes, but you'll know it when you see it. And enlightenment is the same way. Enlightenment comes suddenly when I'm driving and an idea hits me. Yep, that happens that way many times. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This is the Christian Whistleblower channel. You are the Gospel Truth Army. Together, we are the last generation of real humans. History is written by the winners. And if we can write a better tomorrow. We can win today. We can write a better tomorrow. I'm watching the chat as we go by. If, ladies and gentlemen, we just get busy. Let's do it.